So, when you hear the word sociology, what comes to mind? Probably some dusty old academic subject, right? Well, what if I told you it's actually one of the most important tools we have for understanding our hyper-connected digital world today? Let's find out how. And that's the big question we're really going to dig into. How does a science that started back in the 1800s have anything to say about our screens in the 21st century? We're going to connect the dots, all the way from the Industrial Revolution to the ethical puzzles that are literally being written into the code that runs our lives. All right, to get there, we've got to start with the basics and make sure we're all on the same page. So, what is sociology anyway?
Okay, so at its core, sociology is basically the science of us. It looks at everything, from our families and our governments to the unwritten rules of just having a conversation. You could almost think of it as the invisible operating system that our society runs on. And sociologists, they're the ones trying to figure out how that code works.
And this science has been evolving for a long, long time. It was actually born way back in the 1830s, trying to make sense of the huge changes from the Industrial Revolution. Factories, new cities popping up everywhere. Later on, thinkers like Durkheim and Weber dug way deeper into things like culture and social structures. And then, by the middle of the 20th century, the whole field just exploded, adapting to tackle everything from feminism to the environment. Okay, so that's the theory. But how does all of this actually translate to the real world? Because this stuff isn't just about old books. It has some incredibly practical uses. And I really do mean everywhere. The insights from sociology are kind of like a secret ingredient in so many different fields, shaping decisions that affect every single one of us every day, usually in ways we don't even see. Just think about it for a second. How does the government figure out effective public policies? How do marketing teams understand what we as consumers are going to do next? Or how do hospitals and clinics deal with inequalities in healthcare? Sociology gives them the tools to find answers. It's used to make our schools better, to reform our justice system, and to design social programs that actually work. It really shows you its power in shaping the world around us. But here's the thing. As society progresses, it also cooks up these new, really complex problems. And this is where it gets super interesting, because you start to see this growing conflict between the world we say we want and the one we're actually building. And this chart really lays out that challenge perfectly. We all talk about how much we value connection, but we live in a time of intense political division. We say we want fairness, but we're seeing this massive gap in economic inequality. We believe we have a right to privacy, but our data is being exploited all the time. There's this widening canyon between our ideals and our day-to-day reality. So, what's causing all this? Well, it's not just one thing. It's this messy, tangled web of forces, right? You've got globalization connecting us in all these complicated ways, technology moving so fast that our ethics can't keep up, and these really deep economic and political divides. They all just feed into each other, creating these modern puzzles we now have to solve. And that brings us right to the very heart of our digital age, the ethics of the code itself. Because in so many ways, this is the new social contract that governs how we all interact with each other. Computer ethics isn't some niche topic just for developers. It's the fundamental rulebook for our digital society. It gets into the huge questions about privacy, about security, about who owns what in a world that's built on information. It's the social contract we all agree to pretty much every time we go online. And if you look at this breakdown, you can see that the ethical weight is shared. It doesn't just fall on one group of people. From the computer scientists designing the algorithms in the first place, all the way to the web developers building the sites we use, each one has a specific duty to protect us, the users. And it's not like they're just making this up as they go along. Major professional groups like the ACM and IEEE have set up very clear codes of ethics. The standards are there. The real question is, how well are they actually being followed and enforced? So, at the end of the day, all of this matters because the stakes are just incredibly high. We're talking about protecting our personal privacy, preventing really damaging cybercrime, making sure our data is secure, and holding tech companies accountable for their social impact. It's really about building a digital world that we actually want to live in. This all boils down to one really powerful idea. Every single app, every algorithm, every piece of software we use, it has the values of the people who made it baked right in. Technology is never, ever neutral. It's a mirror, and it's reflecting our own priorities and, our own biases right back at us. So, I'm going to leave you with this to think about. As code pretty much becomes the new law of the land, who gets to be the lawmaker? Is it the programmers, the corporations, the government, or should it be all of us? Answering that question is going to define the kind of society we build for a long, long time.